Hey everybody, how you all doing? This is your homeboy Eric Short once again in his man room with the E&L Sports Talk Show with my partner Les Miller. How you doing, Les?
Yo, man, everything is good, man. We got our brother Clyde in the house, man. So I'm
Yes,
good
we
right
do.
now.
There you go. Audience, I just want to let you know we have a great guest. Gentleman is just phenomenal. Got us sitting over here almost in tears, bragging about how successful he's been over the
I
years.
know, I know.
Without further ado, though, here we got Clyde Doughty here. Clyde, how you doing, bro?
I'm great, and it's good to be in the presence of two outstanding individuals on and off the court. So everything is good in this space.
Yeah, I
Yeah, man.
appreciate that. Tell
Yeah,
everybody,
definitely.
a little something about yourself.
Well, Clyde Doughty Jr., I am currently the Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics and Recreation at the Bowie State University, the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland.
Yes.
I grew up in Hollis, Queens. Well, I was born in Harlem, spent some time there as a young man. Folks moved out to Hollis, Queens, where I was raised and nurtured. Great neighborhood, some great folks. Ernie Dowse, the neighborhood. Grew up across the street from Stephen A. Smith. Went to
Okay.
junior high school with Russell Simmons. Joey and them came up and down the block. Uh, Jam Master Jay lived up the street. I mean, so there was a lot of talent across the board in Hollis and
Yeah.
at St. Albans area. Played ball at IS8 along Pete Edwards and those guys. And, going over there, you had to bring your game and not your name because they weren't taking no shorts when you came into IS8.
That's right.
Playing
That's right.
summer ball in Montebello. So in junior high school, I took the test for Brooklyn Tech, not because I wanted to go to Brooklyn Tech, but because I wanted to get out of school for the day. So there was a free trip to Brooklyn. So I got on, I got on grade and I took this test. And I didn't think I was going to pass, So in school, I was a little cut up. And Mr. Landau, I'll never forget him. He was the vice principal. And one day he called me into his office. And that day I didn't do anything. I was good. I've been good, minding my business. So he sits me down. He looks at me. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, how'd you do it? I said, did what? How did you pass the test for Brooklyn Tech?
Wow. Wow.
I said,
Wow.
well, how you like me now?
Yeah.
So in the ninth grade, I was on the F train and the GG every day going to Brooklyn Tech. And, as I got to be a senior, I like, man, this is some haul every day going to this. Then I had to take a bus when I got off the train too. So it was 2.5 plus hours every day. And that's when the transportation was on point, So if you had any delays, forget about it, man. You out there all day, especially when it got cold. But Brooklyn Tech was a godsend for me as far as just not playing basketball. It's the people like Les and all my teammates. To this day, they are my greatest friends right now. They all are doing Stan King. They all are doing great things in their profession. And it was so eclectic, the kind of people, 8,000 students going to this school. And at the end of the day, it looked like an army marching out of down DeKalb Avenue, right, Les?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You, man, it was something else. But I love playing ball there. I love the teammates that I had: Shed Sullivan, Darryl Holder, Robert Solomon, Mark Watson, who just had his birthday, Leslie. I mean, it was just a phenomenal time and playing ball. And so after that, when I finished at Brooklyn Tech, where I was going to make my next step, my grades were okay. I finished up, but my mother, single parent household, you can look at these offers, where can you go next? So Kelvin Hicks and I were fortunate enough to go to New York Tech.
Yes.
And Sam Stern gave us an opportunity to go out there. And it was further enough outside of the city where I felt a different environment, but it was close enough to get back to my mom if I had to. We were on that silver limousine. We called it the Silver Stretch, the Long Island Railroad, the Silver Stretch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, going back and forth to New York Tech, we had some great teams there. Kelvin Hicks, Pete Edwards, Kurt Sumter,
Whoa!
Larry McCartney, rest his soul, who just passed away.
Yeah.
We had some phenomenal ball players there that came and went. And that last year we went there, we went all the way to the NCAA champion. And it hurts me now because we lost to Virginia Union, and I'm in the conference with Virginia Union. So every time I walk in the gym, I got to see this damn banner out there. And I wish I could turn back the hands of time and say, look, let's do this again. Let's have it. Can't, time marches on, but just to have that experience. And back then it was a lot different, the NCAA playoffs for Division II than it is now. They do a lot of regional stuff where everybody comes at one site and moves on. Each game you went to another site. We went to Gannon, and we went up to Michigan, and we went here, we went to Alabama, and then we ended up in Springfield at the Final Four, which was a great experience, and I'll never forget it. And then when you get there, you get out and you do your community work in the hospitals and stuff. So it just was a phenomenal time for us, and a bonding time for us. And these guys like Joe Thompson and all of them, we're still very, very close to this day. So that experience, I'll never forget. Win, lose, or draw, it was just a great experience to be part of that team. And I remember when we lost that championship game, I sat in the locker room and I cried, not because we lost. Losing is part of the competition, but because I'll never be in the locker room with the same guys at the same time again, and we haven't.
Yes.
And that hit me right. I knew it right away.
Yes.
So that camaraderie, was special. So after that, I still had a year to go, finish my degree at New York Tech. And so, you hear a lot. I went to Coach Stern, Sam Stern, who, matter of fact, he called me just before I get on. I talked to him every day. I call him a Big Papa. I said to him, I wanted to get involved with athletics. I need to finish my degree. And he hears that a lot. He said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay for you to finish your degree and see what you do as far as working in athletics. Well, I seized the moment, because now is the moment that never ends. So I got involved in the opportunity, and I went and I learned every bit of athletics that I could. I was in the training room. I was in institutional advancement. I was in compliance. I was in travel. I learned compliance, which is the baseline for what we do here as an athletic department. And so in 82, he came back and he offered me a job as an academic advisor. 84, I became 1982, 1984, I became the assistant athletic director. And in 88, I remember I was sitting at my desk and Sam had moved on to another position in the school, and Dr. William Lay, Buck Lay, was the AD. He had come out of retirement because there were some issues going on at the school, and he brought some credibility back to the athletic department. So he retired, and they walked in and said, do you want to be the athletic director? No interview, no nothing. I thought for about a millisecond and said, hell yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
September 88 to 2014, August 7, 2014, I was the athletic director at Bowie State at New York Institute of Technology. And I really appreciated the opportunity. I grew up in a Division II environment as an athlete. I grew up as an administrator in the Division II environment, and it was a great experience. Our motto at NYT, we didn't have a lot of resources, but we made chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo, and I'll keep it clean for this podcast. So we would just manufacture what we did, and we had great success. The cross team winning national championships, the basketball team doing well in playoffs, the track team under Pete Zeno, outstanding. We had a Division I baseball team under Bob Hirschfeld, who was a legend in the game. So it was, our women's teams, our volleyball team, and our soccer team doing. Gail Wasmus, who was a Hall of Famer in volleyball and basketball, taking our team to NCAA playoffs multiple years. And our tennis program went to the final for the Elite Eight in tennis, men's and women at the same time, under Chris Ferrucci. So we had a lot of success. And academically, when I left there, the GPA, which is the most important thing, which I hang my hat on here and I hang my hat on there, because I tell young men and women, without a degree, I couldn't be representing you as your vice president or as your AD.
Absolutely.
So when a recruit comes through, the first thing I tell them, and they ask me, I say, why are you here?
Right.
They'll give me, oh yeah, I'm here on the tour. I'll keep at, why are you here? And eventually I get the answer I want to get. I'm here to get an education. I'm here to get a degree. And that's the bottom line. You're not here to play basketball. You're not here to play football, soccer, or anything else that is in the sports realm. You're not here to be in a fraternity, sorority. You're here to get an education. All that other stuff is a side piece to education, because time is something you'll never get back. It's the variable that's the most important variable we have. So in the pillars of the school, academic excellence, student success, and ensuring the long-term viability of this great institution. If we do the first two, the third falls in place. So in a capsule, that's what I'm at. And being part of the CIAA, it's been a wonderful experience with these schools. When I first got here, Eric and Les, at our school, we used to play a little music, and maybe we have a little bit of the flute or something. When you come here, the bands and the cheerleaders and the pop and circumstances, I was mesmerized. I'm telling you right now, I was mesmerized.
Yeah.
But now it's second nature. But when you get into this environment and you see the culture and you see the history and you see the alumni coming back, it's a wonderful place to be and experience, especially after understanding the CIAA started in 1912 out of necessity because we as Black folk couldn't get into white schools. We couldn't participate.
Yep. That's
so
right.
That is the essence of why these HBCUs, people talk about the relevancy and they try to knock them down. And now you can see the growth coming back to the HBCUs with all of the attacks that are happening to our race right now. So that history is critical. And, you know, you have schools that started in the CIAA, went into the MEAC, you know, coming back and forth. But I think the core, and then we already know how great our basketball tournament is. And it is one of the most impactful historical tournaments in the country and one of the top grossing economic. When we left Charlotte, we had like a $40 million impact after 15 years there. Well, in 2 years, we're up to a $30 million impact in Baltimore, economic impact. So it goes to show you what is the tournament is all about. And it's just not about basketball, which is the linchpin to it, but the education, the socialization, it's like a basketball homecoming. So Boogie, less means more. That's Cool Mac in a nutshell.
Yeah, man.
And that's funny thing that just saying that because throughout what you just mentioned, you made it clear that the experiences of all those extracurricular activities, whether it be sports, debate team, fraternity, those are not the focal points of what the student athletes, you know, premise is. That's not what the schools were about that you've been working at, as well as what the conferences have been, as well as the idea of what, you know, historical HSBCU schools are. And people don't understand that. And they don't see that whole, you know, picture of the experiences is really what all of this is about, but staying focused on the main goal, and that's to educate yourself, you know, and that there's a lot to be said about that going forward, as well as, you know, if you look and took a dive back, it all started, you know, from the education in high school. You know, that tech high school education you got.
Unless when I tell young people, you know, I sit up and I do my presentations, I say most of people can drive. So you get in your car and it's two main things you start looking at: the mirrors. You look at your side mirror, you look at your rear view mirror. That's my history. That's behind me. The big picture is that windshield. And you need to look at that windshield because every time you move forward, your rearview mirror is getting smaller. Things in your rearview mirror getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They're still there. They're always going to be there.
Right.
They're going to be there. But you can always see the stuff in front of you out your windshield.
Right. So and the idea of a driver, the true idea of a person driving, looking through, you're not supposed to look like directly in front of the car. You look off into the distance.
Absolutely. You got to have that peripheral.
Straight. The more you look closer, the more you'll start wobbling. But the further you look out forward, the more you move straight. And it's a real easy concept to understand. You correlate that to a person's life and, like you said, their future, their past, and the things that as you pass them, you know, it's a great thing. It really is.
You're traveling on your yellow brick journey. You're on your yellow brick journey. When you're on the highway of life, people are getting on, people are getting off. You got to make stops. You got to rest. You got to maintenance your car, and your car is you. So you got to get rest, nurturement. Make sure you go to the doctors. Make sure you're healthy.
Come on, man.
Worry about your mental health. So who's in your car with you? Who you letting in your car? Come on. Who you letting in your car so riding with you? So that's very important.
Sounds like some of them teams I used to play for back in the day.
Yeah. But yo, Clyde, man, think about this, man. Can you imagine if your senior year, right? It's me, Kelvin Hicks, you, Big Darrell, Shed. I'm not even sure who else was on the team.
Leslie.
But can you imagine what that team could have done?
Yeah, you know, I really, and I think if we had a better, not knocking anything Schneider, but a better coach who understood more about the basketball part of us and got us more engaged with each other, I think, and Ronnie Nunn was the coach. I think Ronnie Nunn was there. Do you remember Ronnie Nunn?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course.
So he was the assistant coach, but Snyder wasn't giving him a lot of abilities to do certain things.
Right.
He was very controlling. Who was your coach? P-Core coached you in senior year?
As a matter of fact, okay, so check this out. So I finally make the team after you guys graduated, right? Now I'm the man, right? Shelly said to me, he said, "Oh, hey son, you got a nice game, man." He said, "What are you, a sophomore?" I said, "Man, you cut me 3 years in a row, motherfucker." You know, I'm like, yo, but I'm gonna tell you, yo, if nothing else though, he was the nicest guy to me. He said, "I'm so sorry, man," and he tried to get me into all these different schools, man. You know, and I was supposed to go CW Post.
Oh, really?
I was supposed to go CW Post.
That would have been interesting.
I went on a trip to George Washington University.
Okay.
So that's a D1.
Yep.
So me and my man Mike Darby, we're on a plane. We going over there. I thought I was gonna. And the coach came to my house. So my father, boom. I thought I was gonna get it on there. And like in August, my father called and he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. They got this guy 6'9" from the DC area." So my heart was broken.
Wow.
So, you know, this guy used to come, Ron Gannulin.
Ron Gannulin, yeah.
He used to come to Brooklyn Tech and take me out to Long Island.
Oh, really?
So he told me, he said, "Yo, look, man, okay, we got a spot for you, man, but you're gonna have to like commute." I'm like, damn. Yeah, I signed up for my classes and everything, right?
Oh, really?
And then Big Don McAllister said, he said, "Where you going to school?" I said, I'm going to Post. He said, "Post?" I said, "We bust their ass every year." I said, "What?" I said, "Where do you go to school?" He said, "Hartwick." I said, "Where's Hartwick?" Oneonta. I said, "Where the fuck is Oneonta?" So he took me up. He said, "My coach looking for a big man." Went up there like the next week, man, and I signed up. The money was better. Everything was better. Yo, and I ended up taking Big Don's spot. I was starting at center my freshman year, you know, and I was like, damn. So the first time that we played Post, right, Ron Gannulin, I was on the cover of the program, right? So Ron Gannulin said, "Oh, so this is why you came here?" I said, "No, man." I said that it just made more sense, you know. And then next thing I know, he's at New York Tech.
Yep, with Sammy.
So there's no allegiance, okay?
No, still not. And your coach at Hartwick, Nick, was his name?
Nick Lambros, yes.
Yo, he was something else, man. He was good. He was really good.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I was basically his first recruit because he was the assistant coach because the guy, Roy Chipman.
Okay.
Roy Chipman went to Lafayette and then he ended up at Pittsburgh, you know, but Nick I was like basically his first recruit, man, but he was trying to understand the brothers. You know what I mean? So it was a whole different thing, man, but I was getting ready to come back to go to LIU with Eric, man. Because my freshman year, man, I'm like, yo, I'm starting, but yeah.
You didn't like that?
I'm fucking up in school.
Yeah.
I was ready to get the hell out of there, man. You know, but my father said to me, he said, Les, okay, if you want to go back to do this in LIU, he said, you know what, if you run, you may always run. And that's all he said to me. And that's the day I became a man. I was like, nah. I stayed up there for 4 years, man. And I wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame at LIU, you know, but I was in the Hall of Fame at Hartwick, man, because I stayed up there, got my education, 4 years and out, boom. And that was the best thing ever happened to me, man.
Yeah, and you didn't have to deal with that mess on DeKalb Avenue.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
I mean, it ended up being a mess after it's all said and done, you know.
Yeah.
But forget all of that though. My big concern is, you know, Clyde, what was the experience like for you? If we want, you know, dig deeper into your basketball experience, playing with the gentleman that you were playing with at New York Tech.
Yeah.
You know, legends in their own right. What was that experience like, as well as the fact that you knew all of them anyway?
Right. C-Rock, yeah, Kelvin Hicks, Pete Edwards, all them guys.
When you look back on it, and that's a great question. When you look back on, at a time, you're just a ball player and you're just trying to make your way. You know, you're trying to get your time in and you're competing against them. But you look back on it and the opportunity to play with some phenomenal basketball players. Our practices were harder than the games.
Absolutely.
That's,
Absolutely.
you know, our pickup games were harder than the games. And that was the real, I got to be around some of the most confident individuals in the world when it came to basketball. Some most arrogant MFs when it came to basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ever listen
Who
to
are you
Pete Edwards?
talking about?
Yeah, yes. If you ever be around Pete Edwards, you can't get more arrogant than that on the basketball court, man. So, but they understood, like you said, bring your game and not your name. They understood what it took every day. Larry McCartan was a machine on the court.
Oh my gosh.
Physically, mentally,
Him
machine. Kelvin,
and Bobby Jones too.
Bobby Jones, the left, and matter of fact, I owe him a call. BJ, the left hand, I forgot to leave him out of the great players that I played with. And Kelvin was so laid back. I don't think Kelvin understood how great he was.
I know.
He really didn't. He really, you know, he just played the game, the fluidity that he had. He was like, if he had an attitude like Pete Edwards, that guy would have been, you know, in the NBA right now. Couldn't have stopped. But he just like, okay, I'll go play over here. They drafted me in the Knicks. I'm the 6th round, and they don't want to sign me. I'm going over to Europe. He just went with the flow.
Right.
And after he finished playing, you didn't even know he played basketball. He never talked about it, you know?
So
playing with those guys, even playing at Brooklyn. I remember we went to Midwood. Man, coach said, well, they got a small gym. Small gym ain't the word for it. Y'all ran us out of there before we even got in there, man. You know? I was like, damn, man. Pressed us from the time we got there to the time we leave. So just playing against a great time. I remember going up to St. John's Rec to play against Alexander Hamilton. Man, that was an experience. Let me tell you something about Picor while we talk about basketball.
Okay.
I was on the JV. He was the JV coach, where Shelley was the varsity coach.
Right.
A sophomore, junior. I'm a freshman on the JV. We play Wingate. Now, this is my first time in Brooklyn. I don't know nothing about no trains, no nothing. You know, I'm from Queens. We take buses, you know. We get in there, we playing the game, we're doing well. Some of these guys, one of the guys reached over and said, yo, man, you make another shot, we kicking your ass. I was like, oh, shit. So, look, I was like, yo, I kept playing. He said, yeah, you're going to get it. Man, the end of the game, I said, Coach Picor, that guy said he's going to jump me out the game. Oh, practice is at 3, see ya. He took off, left me. I didn't even get dressed. I grabbed my stuff. I ran to the first train station, moving out of Wingate. And I didn't care where it was going. I didn't care what direction it was going. I was on that train, boy.
Yeah.
He got his little Volkswagen and was gone.
I'm surprised that happened at Wingate, because their Wingate threateners were all talk, but you didn't know that. So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm just playing basketball.
But those experiences are just they really are ridiculous. And the people that you're playing with, and you know, like you said, the competition and playing in practice was harder than the games. And that's because you mentioned it, you already, you know, you gave the recipe of it. Competitive players will make you better, as well as the fact that they're going to push you because their pride is at stake, even in practice. And that's when you know you're on a team of guys that really take the game seriously, you know, in the direction that it should go in, that competitive spirit. And you know that you'll end up being good teammates, because those guys, those are the guys you want to go to war with.
Absolutely.
You know, and
but Clyde, though, I'm gonna tell you, man, I'll never forget, man, because every year I was getting cut at Brooklyn Tech, right? Then they're like, oh, we'll play in the JV team. And I was like, y'all must be kidding, man. I'm too good for that, man. So now I'm playing in the church league, and they're like, yo, this guy's got to be a high school player. I said, no, man. They cut me, and Picor, he was the SOB, man.
Yeah,
you know, come on, man, come on. And my father used to come to the games, and he's like, why are you guys playing the zone? We was playing. I'm like, come on, man. We're down 5. We need to like D up, man. Back in the zone. I'm like, God damn. But that's the reason why your boy, man, he wanted to make sure I got into a college, man, because he realized that he made a bad choice. You know? Yeah.
Hey, Eric, go back to your point, and yours also too, Les. When we went out to New York Tech, and you talk about the camaraderie, the fellowship, being black at a PWI, there wasn't a lot of us out there, you know.
Yeah.
So we had to circle the wagons around each other.
Yeah.
So we can make it, because someone's always, that's one thing I tell about people. What's the difference between being at a PWI and a HBCU? At a PWI, I always had to defend my blackness. I don't have to
Right.
defend my blackness here. We know exactly where we're
That's
at.
right. I hear you.
So, and we were very strong together. We knew we had to stick together. We had to protect each other while we existed in that environment. So that's the other piece of it, Eric, besides the basketball, is that fellowship and camaraderie that we had.
Yeah. And that means,
You know, and to your point, Clyde. Okay, so now Hartwick was like what, 1,500 students, right? So we probably had maybe 30 black people. 10 of them were on the basketball team.
Right.
You know, and some of the other ones that were there, they weren't.
Yeah.
Basically. But we went to Oneonta State, which is another hill, and that's where we had our little hangout, you know, with the girls, the whole nine, you know, in the clubs. But I mean, it was a serious thing, man. When I'm coming from Brooklyn, and it was like a culture shock.
Yep.
Even though I went to Brooklyn Tech, where it was 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, but still it was a culture shock. It was snowing everywhere. It was snow people everywhere.
Yo, going up that hill, man, that bus got stuck. We got stuck every time going up that damn hill, man.
Yo.
You want to know about culture shock, man? Why don't you take yourself on the other side of the Blue Ridge Mountains into, you know, Kentucky, where I went to
boy.
Yeah.
And it was almost equal parallel. I mean, it was like a lot of minorities in the school, but it wasn't that. It was that when you left campus, you know, I mean, and then your experiences become like so widely to some degree scary, because you're away from your home, and so you gotta, you know, when in Rome, right? So you stay your butt inside, don't go nowhere, you know, and you know, but also experiences of traveling. You get in, you know, you're going to a game and things happen in another state, where people widely talk about those experiences of being in West Virginia, or you know, Western Kentucky, you know, and you're playing in the 60s, and the type of things that you had to deal with. And I never forget, we went to Oklahoma, and Chaperone was a student driving, you know, a couple of cars, you know, back to the hotel where we're staying. And we're playing in a college, all college tournaments, like 8 schools there. And he makes the wrong turn, so he tries to go across the medium on the highway. And I got a big boom box, and the boom box arm broke, so I'm using a dog chain. I connected to both ends, and so it rattles when I carry it.
Right.
We get stuck on the medium, and state trooper comes. I'm the older, me and Earl Fuller, the oldest people in the car, because the guy's a freshman, we're like juniors. And the state trooper, he's a white guy. State trooper takes him, says, "Come with me, young man." And they're standing 10, 20 feet away, and they're whispering, talking to him, and we're sitting there like, in the car. We're toast, you know. And the only thing that saved us was like who we were, because where we were coming from, what we're there for. But there's so many experiences that were borderline, could have went a bad direction.
Absolutely.
You know, those experience. I'm sorry, go ahead, Clyde.
No, Eric, and I was just going to say, you hear about those stories now. You know, you look at the situation where a truck driver gets pulled over for a mud flap, and he's standing he gets on his knees, and he puts his head, and they still release the dogs on them. So you're absolutely right. In those situations, you're on this side of being attacked for no reason whatsoever.
For no reason.
The melanin in your skin.
Right. And the normal protocol, you know, it goes out the window.
Yep.
And that's the part that bothers me more than anything. Do your job. That, you know, I mean, that's the best. That's the best person you could be, is to be, you know, a good officer. You know, pull somebody over, follow the protocols. And I always say, even whether it be that, or you're working in a corporate office or the post office, follow the procedures. You know, you're a director of your athletic department. Compliance, right? Like you said, that's what you got biggest experience in learning from. You know, if when you follow the rules, you follow that employee handbook, you can't go wrong. You know, but why do you deviate off of that? And what's driving that? What's more powerful than the procedural part of your job or the activity that you're doing? You
Well, that's
know,
what becomes personality over process, which I say personalities take effect because
yeah,
now I'm in power to make you do something that's totally against the rules, totally against the process. Like you're right, Eric. In a very practical, theoretical world, we should be able to just walk down any street, do what we need to do, be who we want to be. But for some reason, someone wants to dictate to you and tell you what your rights are now.
right.
Yeah.
What you can read, what you can put on,
Yeah.
what kind of sexuality you should have.
Right.
And that's when things go sideways.
Yeah, but when you take control over things like that, that's kind of like one of the worst things that you could do is ride a motorcycle with no hands.
Yep.
Right? Because you know, you know what's going to start happening. You know, and that's when you deviate from procedures, policies, or the rules. That's when you have the wobbling, and then something bad could happen. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. No, 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 no. And but something drives that, and it's deeper than anything that we could actually see, that we can speak to and annotate as it being a problem, because it's so deep that we don't know what is coming from the abyss. That personal feeling to make that choice is an abyss type of mindset that's not out all the time, but as soon as it rears its ugly head, and it seems like they can't control themselves.
Well, it's getting worse now, Eric, because this thing called technology has poisoned a lot of folks into things and believing things that they shouldn't be believing in. When you and I and Les grew up, I mean, I tell people, do they know who this guy Dewey Decimal is? They don't have a fucking clue, you know.
What? I'm telling you.
It's Google and this and that. And they can sit home and do a whole report right in their room and they still don't get it done. So I tell people the most important pentium in your world is in your head. But people are just not using it. They're letting somebody dictate to them. So all of a sudden here, Eric, you talk about the practicality. We had to learn. We had to learn how to get on a bus. We had to learn how to do this. We had to learn. We took baby steps in growing. Now there's no baby steps. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be at the top because something this gadget telling you that you could be. This thing is telling you that you could be at the top. Whereas you going through the process, Eric, like you just stated. So that's something that has changed the whole world. And getting back to your point about understanding, we have to teach our young men and women that although there's rules in place, you got to understand that folks aren't following the rules, and you have to be aware of yourself so you save your life to walk away and come back another day.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what there's an old Indian proverb is a smart warrior knows when to retreat to come back and fight another day. Yep. But it's hard to identify that when our society has us already engulfed and wrapped in cellophane, you know, that we're trying to break out of that in the first place. And that stifling of how you're treated, sometimes it becomes too much that we overreact and we respond improperly. Oddly enough, I got pulled over by police it's like the first time I ever got a speeding ticket. I was telling Les, and he was like the most polite police officer I ever saw in my life. But I was in return polite to him. Right. And it was and so I'm not trying to say that it doesn't happen. But for me, for some reason, I just feel, unless there's other agendas, then that's what would happen. If something could have went awry if he had came at me improperly. But I'm prepared for that as well now because of the, actions that we've seen over the past 15 years or so. But a lot of people are not equipped. Don't put me on Jeff Rulin and expect me to stop him like 1 foot from the rim. Right. I'm in my comfort zone, so I know how to react. I'm prepared, but a lot of people aren't prepared for that situation. And when it happens, you get blown up on both sides. And
you're right.
But we have to be better than this. And those experiences, like you said, from the universities, they mold us as well. So you go to a historical Black college and you get, the full compass. So there's a lot of comfort there. But people that don't, they're missing some things. And
absolutely.
And it's but it's a constant teaching moment.
Yeah, always.
But Clyde, to go in a different space right now, right? Do you remember when you guys came up to Hartwick, right? And I think you guys beat us by like 2 points. But we had a whole party set up for you guys after, right? And my mom and my sister were up in Hartwick that day for that game. And your coach said, "Nah, we're getting on the bus. We going back home." And we thought you were gonna spend the night, man. We had this whole man. We had ladies hooked up for you guys. We had everything, man. I was so disappointed, man. And I think that was your senior year, maybe. You
Yeah,
know?
it was.
Yeah.
And he knew that if we stayed up there, we would never came home. We would never. He already knew. Les, he knew. He said, "Oh hell no, y'all get on this bus, we going home."
Yo, man, I was so disappointed, man, because we had food, we had drinks, we had women. I was like, all the girls from the United States were. It's like, so where the New York Tech guys? My sister was there. She's like, because matter of fact, Kelvin Hicks, he signed that the program that night. Remember the one I showed you on?
Yeah, the program.
He signed it. Oh man, come on. I was like, my guys are here, man. Bones, you know, Joe Thompson. I mean, yo, it was like crazy. It was crazy. And the funny thing was, when we lost you guys at Gannon, right? I think my point guard, he was playing with a broken foot. And that's probably like the best game I ever played my whole college career against you guys. And I was telling my point guard, I said, man, yo, what, yo, you was doing, because he as much as I love Pete Edwards, he was doing that motherfucker, right? But when I started playing with him in Marty's crew, I said, nah, I don't think you can handle him anymore. Pete and Kurt something, come on, man, yo.
And when Pete left New York Tech, he got exceptionally bigger and stronger. And man, that guy could just go in those tournaments, and his skills, man, he had that killer crossover where, you know, the guys got this crossover now where they put their hands in the ball and turn it over. Defensively, you try to come up with it. And to me, that's just giving advantage to the offensive player and putting the defense in a better position. But his crossover was always on top of the ball. So it was killer, man. He'd juke you right out of your sneakers, man.
Yeah.
So,
I'm telling you.
I had a unique opportunity to play with him in West Fourth. And so, you know, it's weird when you're looking in the same direction that your teammates are. You see certain things, and it's like there's something that I don't know if people notice it, but with Pete, I don't know, for some reason, like that shoulder area, I guess the brachial plexus and all of this, like when he would cross over, that arm would follow the ball. So he made sure that it went where he wanted it, and you could never respond to that. And and it's like, you're right, and plus he's a lot stronger than a lot of people think he is, you know. And but messing around with Kurt Sumter, you know, you start to learn how to use your body when it comes to strength.
Yo, Clyde. So I started playing with Marty's crew because of Wayne Mackey.
Oh, okay.
Wayne Mackey and Trevor, right?
Okay. All right.
Trevor Green. So I'm there, and they were like, yeah, get less, because you know what? He's not going to complain. He's going to get rebounds, and then we can pass him the ball whenever we want. So, like, people get like 30 points in the first half. Whole boys, Kurt would come in the second half and get like 40. When they got double teamed, they pass me the ball. You know, it's like, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Oh my God. I love playing with those guys, man.
Kurt was phenomenal, man. If he hadn't hurt his leg over in California, he could have really made a run. You know, World Be Free being one of his mentors in the game. Him and Phil Foreman, those guys just had unbelievable talent and skills.
Oh yeah, Phil Foreman. Yeah, man.
And it's incredible. They all like I don't know, they all got the same kind of teaching, you know. And a lot of it has a lot to do with just, you know, power. You know, the power of, you know, your center of gravity, and when it comes to basketball stuff, and plus they probably would have been good anyway. That's the other thing.
It
makes a difference, man. And but that's the era that we played in, what we saw in all of us, the competitive spirit, everything that we've got out of that. And, you know, in your mind, though, Clyde, what do you think the gameplay of now is like in comparison to the times that we play, other than what the
Yeah.
norms are? What are like those idiosyncrasy things that change the game in your mind?
Well, that's another good question, Eric. You're looking at the transition of sports and how we bonded and came together. As you were talking, I was just thinking about the whole experience of how we used to walk to Montebello Park and how we bonded. We had no cars and things of that nature. So our ability to understand each other was a lot greater, and we appreciated. We know there was not like giving trophies out to everybody.
Right.
We had to win a trophy. It wasn't no like, oh, everybody's participating. Oh, that's nice. You had to win. And we won. Everybody wanted to win, but at the end of the day, we respected those who won because of what they did on the court. We got too many people of these false ideas that they can be better and this esports stuff and be better than what they are. And they don't work as hard as they should. And they make excuses. There is an excuse in this room I'm in right now about who we are or what we did and what we didn't do. But too many times I hear it's this one's fault, that one's fault. They don't take the onus to say, look, I didn't show up on time. I didn't train on time. I didn't get enough sleep on time. I didn't do this on time. It's somebody else's fault all the time. They get caught up in things outside of the game that take away from their ability to be better. And I try to get them to remain focused when they come through here. And you see the ones that are focused, the kind of careers that they can have and where it can take them eventually, not just in basketball, but in life in general. So that's what I think is missing, Edith. I see the difference. And, in Brooklyn, we got on the train together. We had to ride the train to games,
That's right.
Schools, you had to ride on the train, man. And there was
to FDR, Lafayette.
Yeah, and I remember we played against the Microwave, man, when he came. Vinnie Johnson, man, he came to Brooklyn Tech and lit our asses up, man. But and he was a center at the time. And then when you heard about him playing as a guard for the Detroit Pistons, he was like, "Yo,
I know."
He went to junior college and what he did with his talent. And Eric talked about talent, playing anywhere. If you got that talent and somebody can master that for you and show you that you can do certain things, that's the key. We listened a lot more. We heard these kids hear, but they don't listen. We heard and we listened. And that's
matter of fact, I think Big Don was playing with Vinny.
Yes, he was. That's what both of them were at FDR. Yeah. And I knew Big Don before he went to them because he lived on 156th Street in South Jamaica next to my boy Grady Morgan. And
matter of fact, I never knew that. I never knew that he lived. When he told me that one time, I was like, he actually. So I was like, motherfucker, you ain't from Brooklyn.
Yeah, he grew up in Queens. He grew up in Queens until they moved to Brooklyn, man. He was a Queens man.
Yeah.
So that's some of the difference, E.
Yeah, and the accountability thing, and it's happened in the NBA, and this is only my take. I'm not prescribing to what Stephen A says or ESPN or NBA TV, but I think the entertainment world was given a place at the table. And when it comes to sports, and not just basketball, but all sports, that entertainment value becomes more. Entertainment value is individualized. You watch a television show, and there's individual characters. You play who you're told to play. I'm playing Will Smith is playing, the Fresh Prince, right? So those are the roles that you play, and so it's all individualized. And now the game has become so individualized because I'm, as a player, and I'm your teammate, Clyde, I'm watching you instead of participating.
Absolutely.
And I'm on the court with you. The guys on the sidelines, if you make a jump shot, somebody's running around smacking their head because you made a three and doing some kind of dance move and it's like, to me, it destroys the foundation of everything that we discussed about camaraderie, teammates, guys who have skill sets, and sharing the ball. Like I said, you rebound and you get rewarded down the court because it's a push and pull environment, and your skill sets you work on, and then there's the strategy of the game is all supposed to mold up. But now you have the entertainment value, and they're coming and say, hold on, take two. whole time, you know what I mean? So they're controlling the process, and that's interference. It's interference to those things.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
control the narrative, and that's what that technology piece that I alluded to earlier. The technology has now opened up the pane of windows to see everything,
Right.
and everybody's mugging for the camera. You get an interception of football, you run all the way down to the end of the field, and you're standing there, and you're profiling and everything. I love the old Barry Sanders. Give the ball to the official and run back to the.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Act like you've been there before. Yep.
Yeah, act like you've been. That's what I try to tell kids.
Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Jim Brown.
Jim
You
Brown.
you run 2 yards, get back in the huddle, like, give me the ball.
Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give me the ball.
Or Kareem talking to Magic.
That's
Hey,
right.
hey, big fella. This is game 1. We got 81 more games to go.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
the
but these celebration is not to be divvied out like it's a lollipop. Like way the doctor gives, the dentist gives everybody a lollipop while he's working on your teeth, trying to tell you not to eat candy, but you get a lollipop.
Yep.
And it's like it thwarts all of the thinking. Everything else becomes important.
As many times as Dr. J dunked, who, your mother, your father, your sister, yo, he dunk on you and pat you on the butt.
And he run up the court, man.
Man.
It wasn't all that profiling, mugging.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I would do when I dunk on somebody, I pat him on the butt, man, and on the way down, I'm talking to that person. Damn, you almost got that shit. but it's between me and him. You know what I mean? It's nobody else. Nobody's
getting and that's profiling for the cameras.
Yeah. But it's funny. But it's on the other side coin. I don't say nothing to nobody. I never talked until I got to college. Well, actually, the end of my career in college and playing in the Rucker, pro-am stuff, you started seeing that talking becomes important. But that's something different. But I don't have nothing to say to you. I'm helping you. If I take you to the hoop, I score and knock you down, I'm helping you up. And it's right. But I'm not running to help my teammate up because my teammate knows I'm a teammate. I don't have to prove to the media that I'm running or to my coach that I care about my teammates. I care about them. I mean, the people we played for, they didn't have tolerance level. Like you start celebrating and the guy goes and scores on you coming down the other way. And I have about 20 videos that I would copy that I see NBA players, guys going crazy like that, but the ball's taken out and they're off and running, and now he's not in the right place.
Game don't stop.
But you're supposed to be a better athlete than us, Les.
Yeah, but basketball to me is still a gentleman's game.
Yeah.
So if between the neck and your balls, that's open game. If you hit me in the nuts, you hit me in the face, you better come and say, yo, are you all right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yo. Because then I'm saying, well, that means you meant to do that shit. Okay? If I have no problem picking somebody up, man. That's just the way the game was when we played. It's a gentleman's game. I like to play hard. I want to hit you, I'm going to do so-and-so. But if I hit you in your face, yo, man, you okay? Hit you in your nuts, you okay? Because low bridge you okay. Okay? But these guys today, man, they're like, oh, fuck that, man. It's like it's a disease if they pick up somebody from another team, man. I don't understand that, man. I don't understand that.
They think you're weak and all this other kind of stuff. That's part of the gentleman's game that we grew up in.
Yeah, and the other issue that Clyde that you brought up about the participation, that's a real big problem for me to get a participation trophy in our world, and no one's ever really thought about this, and someone should bring it up. Mm-hmm. The participation trophy was this.
Yeah.
You're getting a shirt.
Getting a shirt.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a shirt. But but your shirt is different color than Les's. So, y'all are going to compete against each other. And whoever wins that battle, they get that big ass trophy over there.
That's right.
And but not everybody gets promoted at your job.
That's right.
At the same time. And the same money amount. So to clear the way for that thinking there, what do you think it does for the psyche of that young person let's say he's a fifth grader, sixth grader, seventh grader, he's always thinking that no matter what he does, he'll be rewarded.
Yeah.
If he gets a 40 on a test, he's still expecting to get that new iPhone. And
Yeah. Right.
But meanwhile, we say if you're naughty or nice, Santa ain't gonna give you a gift. But when it comes to the sport, it's like everybody gets a gift no matter what. It's conflicting information. You wonder why. No disrespect, knock on wood, but you wonder why the guy goes back and shoots up the place. He doesn't understand how to process things because everything is quick. He relies on Google and the promises that are made that don't substantiate the reason for reward.
Right.
And it's like you don't let the 10-time rapist out on bail. Say this and get those right. So
you talk about that badge of honor right behind you, that West 4th Street. When you used to wear those shirts, people were like, whoa, you played in West 4th.
I know.
Whoa.
Yo, even to this day, I tell people I played in the Rucker. They're like, what?
Whoa. Yeah. And you know what? You're right. I had all those Rucker, those shirts that people used to say, and as athletes, we say, yeah, I played in there, but it was a big deal to play in these tournaments.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even to this day, yesterday I went to the supermarket. I had another one of the shirts on, a different red one, and somebody always says, "What's 4th Street?" And I mean all the way down here, like somebody knows about it. I saw something about that. You played in that?
Yeah.
It's like you say, yeah, man. I mean, and it's the accomplishment and what it means and how it it permeates throughout the country, not just here. And you go out to the West Coast and wear something from the East Coast. Those people, they've heard, and vice versa.
They know. Yeah. Absolutely.
But there's a level of pride of us putting in that, the effort to do that, and it all shows on our faces, man. When we talk about this stuff with a level of pride and happiness, there's no horror behind it, it wasn't a traumatic experience that one of us had to go be locked up for or something.
Right.
Well, let me correct that. Well, at least not me.
So what are you trying to say? I ain't never been locked up, man. But yo, Clyde, though, man, I just want to say how very proud I am of you, and for you to be my brother, man, because I've watched you do your thing, man, and it's inspirational. It's inspirational, man, the things that you've done, accomplished. I just wish we'd have got to play a little more together, on the basketball court when we were younger. But I appreciate the kind of lives that you're molding, for our people, man. And I just want to say thank you.
And it has to be and I'm pretty sure that the people revel on campus about you, and rightfully so. But your peers back home also, they need to understand it's kind of like the saying of basketball and beyond. That beyond that beyond, it's not you looking back at your history, but it's you looking back and grabbing people to bring them along.
That's it.
To put them on that yellow brick road that you so eloquently mentioned.
Yes, that's right.
And especially when I'm always saying I'm the man behind the curtain. So your reference to Wizard of Oz, I love it. But you put in the work, man, and the body of work has to be acknowledged and respected, by your peers back home, because you're impacting people's lives that are at a level that I think that I do, and I can't mess with you with a 10-foot pole, man. So you get a standing ovation from me as well, bro.
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
I really appreciate that. I'm here because someone showed me how to be better at what I do, and I stand on the shoulders of a lot of individuals, white, black, and otherwise, male and female. And I never take anything for granted. I don't take breathing for granted. Both of us know a lot of folks that aren't here right now. People we talk to, Kelvin Hicks, Kurt Sumter, some great people, just not athletes, who are not with us any longer. Harry Carden, who just left us. So I enjoy my life. I try to stay in the now and enjoy the moment, because now is the moment that never ends. So I need to put back. The good Lord has been very good to me, very, very good to me. If I started complaining about something, I'd be one of the most arrogant SOBs in the world. I've been able to get an education. I've been able to have a family. I've been able to have a career, and this career has allowed me to do things that I never thought a little boy from Hollis would be able to do. I'm not on ESPN and all that other stuff that we talked about, but I've been to damn near every state in this country, most 40-something states. I've been in, meetings with big-time people. I've been in people who want to do better for themselves. I constantly get calls from young people who want to do better for themselves. So I feel that I'm in a position to give back and nurture and mentor. So I'm blessed, and just to be able to get a call from E and Les and sit down and chop it up like we're doing, it's a blessing. This is what life is all about. I love the simplicity of life, and we saw the simplicity of life when COVID struck. Well, no one could do shit.
Yep.
We got rally around ourselves. Then we understood how important each other was to us, because we took it for granted that we could get out, go to the beach, go to the park. And when that was taken away from us.
Yes, that's right. That's very true.
Freedoms, they were gone.
Right.
Yeah.
We protect ourselves as human beings because of this virus that's out there that's uncontrollable. So I hope that point permeates in people's minds that we got to do better with each other. Yeah. Like we gotta process things. We got to work through the rules, and the rules are in place because of a reason. There's stoplights and green lights because there's a reason. Because everybody keeps going at the same time, everybody's going to be running into each other.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we also found out, when you have a crisis of that level, and this was a very, very high level. People don't look at it like that because it's past, and it's like, oh, it's just a rain shower, type of thing. But no, but you also had learned people's character and who they were and what they could handle. And it turns out that a lot of people can't handle that type of situation because of how it impacts them, socially and mentally, and I speak to this all the time. For me, at least during the pandemic, Clyde, it was so easy for me to get through that it was ridiculous. And oddly enough, the trauma that I experienced in my life from my health problems, it prepared me for dealing with that.
Yep.
I was in the hospital 3 times for close to 3 months each time.
Wow.
That was by myself, sitting in that hotel. I mean, I'm sorry, I said hotel. I look at it like a hotel. Sitting at that hospital in the ICU with the TV on and watching, ESPN over and over again from 1 o'clock in the morning until, 7, that prepared me for, being by myself. I learned a lot about myself, and a lot of people don't know themselves. And whether it be in regular life or athletics, people don't know who they are as an athlete,
Very true.
And but it's funny, we were taught by people that made us find out who we were. Every single New York City coach that I know of will drive you into you understanding who you are as an athlete, and a lot of them deviate away from the sports thing, and just as men or women, they push us to understand who we are. And then they let us go, and and we've all turned out hopefully to be pretty decent citizens. And I don't know any bad guys though. I don't know no guys that in jail for mass murder or done any like shooting up everybody in the house. I don't know anybody like that. Nobody I played ball against or with was like that, and that's a positive, to be quite honest with you. But you're at the forefront. You're carrying that flag for one of many flags.
Brother, you got the torch, man.
Yeah, and how does just out of curiosity, how does your athletic season at Bowie look this year for you guys?
Well, we're excited. The football team, we had some transition with the football team that kicks us off in the fall. Our coach, who I'd been with since I got here and had been at Bowie for a while, went to Morgan State, and he's great guy. So we had a new coach take over last year. We went 6-4, but we're excited about where we're at with the recruiting. Volleyball did well last year, so we're excited about the season. We have some good, strong student athletes here who understand and value their place. We're teaching them how to be better individuals. So, like you said, Eric, if you understand who you are, the rest is easy at that point. I tell people the most important person in their life is them, and without them, they can't do nothing for anybody else, including themselves. So you take care of yourself, you understand who you are, you have that confidence, and we're going to help you get through this. Now, we still at Bowie State, and Les, we have still a lot of first-generation college students, which to me baffles me. We're in 2023, and we still have first-generation college students, which means nobody in your history, your family, has ever went to college.
Went to college, yeah.
So we have to teach young people how to function in college. You know, this is not high school. So what it takes and the distractions that come along, the responsibility you have to yourself and your work, the short period of time you have to be here. And the biggest part, it's costing you money. Even if you're on a scholarship, it still costs you money because you got some value. You got to have, there's value to everything that you do. So we're trying to teach them how to be better citizens and how to get the most out of the experience. You know, I get one story. I remember Rob Williams, who was a basketball player at New York Tech, and I used to be on him hot, like white on rice about being a better person. And then I get a call from him after he graduated a couple of years, and he said he thanked me for being so hard on him because he said, you were just preparing me for what I'm dealing with now. And
that's what's up. That's what's up, baby. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
in other words, your work is not done, though. So because there's work that has to be done, and that's part of the course. Is that when these athletes get to you, the student athletes can get to you. You got a bag of nuts, mixed nuts, and you don't know what you have, and so. Through that, you pull out one at a time, and see what they need, and you send them through, and hopefully that they grasp the concepts that have been thrown at them to get through it. And there's resources available, and the biggest resource for people like that is usually like the alumni, people that come back, or as well as the fact that just people around them. Your environment should be in a positive mode to help you get through what you have to do. You work in one department, guy works in another, but you might be a resource to help him get through his day, because the conversation that you'll have daily, that helps him get his job done. And when you're not there, it's a struggle. So he's identified that you're a resource for him. And that's what it is, identifying the resources available to you in your environment and taking advantage of it, because that's what it's for. No disrespect to the resource, but it's there for a reason. The tree is there to create shade, from the sun. And without that, those students would have a real hard time, because we don't know what people are going through.
Absolutely.
And because life is not it's not a bowl of cherries, man. It really isn't, man. And
yo, I'm gonna tell you something. Clyde, all those years that I've known you, right? And to find out you were from Queens, man, I say, no, that's a Brooklyn brother, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have Brooklyn DNA in you, man.
But those Queens guys, man, they're like I'm not gonna say they're step brothers. They're brothers, man. They're brothers.
But on the real side, right? So growing up, right? Okay, we being from Brooklyn, we had arrogance about ourselves, right? And it was like uptown dudes, okay, Manhattan's all right. The Bronx, okay, the boogie down's all right. And Queens was like a step up from Staten Island. You know what I mean? When we was growing up. But then I started seeing guys, I'm like, oh wow. And then I started seeing guys from Jersey. I'm like, yo, these guys can play too. So, it was a whole different thing. But, that was the arrogance of being from Brooklyn.
No, but just looking at this screen right now, to be quite honest with everybody that's going to see this, you can see what's Brooklyn and what's not. And and you want to know why? Clyde, sit up, please. Sit up. Look at that, man. Look at that. The guy's got a tie. He comes to the podcast in a tie, suit, got the little
Clyde always been clean. He always been clean, man.
Queens. That's Queens. There you go, Queens, man. You know, in other
Yo,
words, the
give me
Queens
a hat,
guys are
man.
the pretty
Give me a hat
boys, man.
today.
Those are the pretty boys, man. The Queens
Yeah,
guys, you
man.
know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because
Well groomed,
Queens
moms
had
with
money. Queens had
yeah,
money, man.
yeah, moms get their pants like hemmed up properly, professionally.
You had a crease in them, had a crease in
Yeah.
them.
Whereas
Yeah.
where our pants, the hem, you can see the white stitching because it's black pants, He didn't have no black thread, right? But he's got his stuff taken to the cleaners and they do it professionally.
Oh
Um,
God.
but see,
Yeah,
there's
man. That's
value,
funny.
but that's value. That's
That's
value,
funny, man.
And it makes a big difference, man. I
Yeah,
tell
man.
you, and the level of respect that it's only because we're from Brooklyn, this process has become like a kind of like a Brooklyn thing. But for the most part, respect is respect, as
Yeah,
far as
that's
I'm
it. That's
concerned.
it.
And to get you on the show to be able to um, embark like what your experiences were as a administrator of through the process that we all are participating as well as these kids playing now. Um, this is something that's needed because it's something somebody will see this and might learn something from this. Some
Yeah,
young athlete,
that's right. That's right.
change his perceptions of what he's supposed to be doing. If you
Hmm.
impact one person from this podcast, then it's well worth it.
Yeah. There's somebody that's going to watch this and going to say, I want to be like Clyde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But change that tie because I'd rather have a power tie on.
And you know what? I grew up in Queens, but being in Brooklyn, I ran the streets in Brooklyn. After leaving Brooklyn Tech, I was all downtown, Bed-Stuy and
Yeah.
New York and all those areas, man. So it was home to me. Brooklyn is home
Yeah.
to me.
And that's why I always took you as a Brooklyn guy.
Yeah, I stayed there, man.
Yeah.
My first real girlfriend, was in Brooklyn. She lived on Macon between Troop and Sumner. So
Okay.
I know it. People like who lived in Queens. We got streets 231st, 231st Prince, 230. You had to know, Brooklyn. You had to be smart because there were no street numbers unless you get way down in the Flatbush area. You had to know the street areas. You had to know street name, and you had to know what went one way and what went the other way.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You can't go up the Cal, man. You going downtown? Yeah, you got to get on the Cal. It's going downtown.
Going downtown.
Yeah. And to this day, and it's weird because I told my daughter this not too long ago. I know what, like you said, I know what direction all of these streets still to this day.
Going,
and because we were having a conversation with someone about New York Avenue, and they were wrong, and they grew up there, still there, and I'm like, no, New York Avenue is two-way for a while. People don't know that, and so so yeah, that is true. And unless you're going over to the little Caribbean when East 45th Street or something.
Right.
And the other I know.
The names are changed, because down there in Fort Greene, they got all these different people telling me about names of this. That. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, and they give me the street. I said, that's Fort Greene. But then they got all these fancy new names for everything. Dumbo this. I mean, like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
They changed the boundary lines a bit.
Yeah.
Flatbush has changed, Crown Heights has changed, Bed-Stuy has changed.
Yeah. The only thing that didn't change was DeKalb Avenue. It still just goes downtown.
Straight downtown.
It goes one way downtown, DeKalb Avenue.
Yeah.
All the way down to Juniors, right?
Yeah, well, there's always an opportunity for some type of change, and it's going through it. But that's how New York basically is our home. So we do what we do, and we've always had I've always had a close relationship with guys from Queens, man. Always. One of my buddies from way back in the day, Dave Underwood, who
Big Dave, man, I played with Big Dave. Oh my
God,
man.
Dave and Archie Joyner.
I just talked to Archie and I grew up around the corner from each other.
Yeah. Are you serious?
You kidding me? Archie, we played PAL, we played CYO ball together. That was my
man. We were
Archie every week.
Yeah, from the youth games, man, back in the day, man, Albert, and it's there's always been a closeness, and that's true amongst all the boroughs.
We came together to play ball from all over the city. So even though you're from a borough, if you're a baller, you know everybody.
Right. Come on, man.
You know everybody.
Once you have some game, everybody was cool with you.
Everybody knew who you were.
But even if you didn't, and I understand your point, Les, but the level of respect that guys that weren't good players at all, and they're still around, the level of respect that I have for them and vice versa, and the same for you. I know it, guys that we know that really didn't have games, but they're cool, man, and that's because they got the experience. It's just that they didn't get a 97 on that Tesla as you did, but they got a 65, but that's passing, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So everybody's in, man, and that's the key, man. And that camaraderie is not based on skill set or height or how far you went. I made it to the league. It doesn't make a difference, man. We're all cool with each other, and that's why, to me, like people say, "What's the best players of the era?" We're all good. I don't want to rate anybody. I'm not rating, Jesse Massey over Les Miller, over Larry Washington, over Larry McCartan. We were all good players. And we're all good men. And that's and we're all in that where the box of Skittles is full, and I'm past the stage of saying, well, I was better than you. Who cares? I got
I did dunk on you though, E, so it's okay.
Yeah, you got me. You got me a couple times, man. As a
Clyde,
matter of fact, you found me out of game.
I know, right? I know. But Clyde, I have one last question to ask you before we go, right? So, who are your like 5 favorite teammates at New York Tech? Okay, because I looked at the pictures every once in a while, right? And like I see like LD, Lance. It's like, I mean, you guys had so much talent on that team, man. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know why you guys didn't win like 2 or 3 championships, man, in Division II, man. So who are some of your favorite players? I mean, of course, Kelvin Hicks, but
Well, you start with Kelvin. I mean, it's hard to pick out 5 because we were just so close. But you start with Kelvin. Both of us came from Brooklyn Tech, and we came together as a package deal, went out there. And he was the kind of guy that just smoothed the waters out all the time. He was always that mediator, that quiet mountain of patience. You could always go to him and talk to him about anything. He'd always make everything feel right. So it was him. And then, you look back, Pete, Pete was an arrogant bastard, but you loved him because he showed up to everything he did. Okay, I'm coming. All right. So yeah, we got Kevin Durant in the gym, and they want me to come in. So
man, nice. Okay.
Pete Edwards, Larry was great also too. I really love Kurt Sumter.
You
can tell me anything bad about Kurt Sumter. That guy was amazing. And my backcourt mate, Bones, which I call Belly now.
Bones. You call him Belly now.
Because he ain't Bones in, but Bones and I are really close. So those guys I really cotton to. And, like I miss Kurt now. I wish I had been able to see him before he left us, but Kurt was just the nicest guy all the time. He had a great attitude about life. So some of the guys I just would pinpoint really, but all of us, man, like Bobby Jones and all those, Joe Thompson, they come down to the CIAA tournament. They support me and they support these young men and women, give me advice. So we were just really a tight bunch, man. So I really appreciate my moment with them.
It sounds like a great answer.
Yep. So, man, I know you got to go, man, but I appreciate you, man, and thank you for coming on our little podcast, man.
Thank you for allowing me to be in this space, and I love you guys. You'll keep doing what you're doing because you got a wealth of information, and we need to get this information out to our young men and women so they realize their wealth, so they can. So thank you so much.
I agree. All right. So once again, everyone, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this show. Please find the time to share it with people, and we'll definitely see you guys on the other side. I want to thank Clyde for participating in the one of the greatest conversations we had so far.
I know.
I wish you well this year, and we'll definitely talk to you soon, my brother.
And I will be down to Bowie. Come check you out, man, for sure.
Let me know, man. I'll be waiting on you, Les. And
okay.
Open invitation too. All right.
Okay, appreciate it. Take care, bro.
I love you, man.
All right.